Namaste, greetings, welcome back. I'm Dr. Naresh Bana, and today we are going to discuss Ahmedabad Bus Rapid Transit System. On my left is Mr. Rajiv Chadda, PPI Guru, who's dealing and working on numerous projects, primarily tourism projects as of now. And on my right is Mr. Siddhant Singh, an advocate and budding PPP practitioner. This session is being moderated by him, and I request him to take it over from.
I'm Siddhant Singh. I'm an advocate and a legal consultant. Also, by rightly said, I'm a keen PPP learner as well. Today's discussion is about Ahmedabad BRTS and the role of PPP in it. Before that, I would just explain BRTS. BRTS is nothing but bus rapid transit systems. It is just to ensure that the user gets a cost-effective, environment-friendly ride. So Ahmedabad BRTS was introduced in 2009. It was launched in 2009. Before proceeding on Ahmedabad BRTS specifically, I would like to pose my first question to Mr. Chadda as to what is the current scenario of BRTS globally?
Yeah, so current scenario globally is very encouraging. And as you all know, transport systems are very important for any city, functioning. And BRTS is one of the very important transport options for sustainable growth. As far as I see, I've been following the infrastructure sector. So this is one of the most important innovations in the world. I can say that in the public urban transport system, this is one of the most important innovations after 1870 when the trolley car was invented. So the global scenario is very encouraging. There are multiple success stories like Bogota and Budapest in South America, and from there the system came to India, and we tried to implement that in India. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So coming to Ahmedabad BRTS, Dr. Bana, could you just briefly describe to our viewers what exactly Ahmedabad BRTS project is and why was it introduced?
Okay, Ahmedabad as a city is in Gujarat state of India, and this project was initially planned beginning of this century, the first decade, and 2006 the work started. And what they did was Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, which was gearing up for this project, they formulated a special purpose company called Ahmedabad Janmarg Limited, AJL. Now AJL then went in, and the total project cost is 1,200 crores, which is $150 million. And with that kind of outlay, they have constructed a route kilometer of 160 kilometers with 162 stations. And these 162 stations are on 18 lines, 14 two-way lines, and 2 are circular lines, and there are 2 shuttle lines. It has, I think, 380 buses today, with 150 out of them are electric buses, which is very environment friendly, and the daily ridership is anytime around 200,000 to 220,000 per day. So that is very brief about this project.
All right. So since Ahmedabad BRTS is a PPP project, and that's why we are sitting here for the podcast. So my question to you is, what is the speciality of this project being a PPP project, and how does it differentiate itself from other BRTS PPP projects?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, I think. So this is a very unique PPP project. And first, let us understand what was the objective of this project. The first objective was to reduce the travel time, and the second objective was to reduce the length of the travel for the citizens. And the third was, reduce the automobile usage. So these were the 3 main objectives of this project. So in any PPP project, if you are able to give services or you can create a product for the end user, charging some revenue, then it is a successful PPP project. So this is a project which differentiates itself from other projects in the sense that it is a social project. It actually does a lot of social impact on the society in the sense that reduce carbon footprint is there. Then there is greater accessibility to the citizens, and the mobility also increases substantially. So in other BPP projects, we look at more of revenue generation and other things. But this project creates a lot of social impact on the city, the citizens, and the users.
Okay, so not just for the users, but it was an environment friendly project as well.
Yes.
Understood. So for the viewers, so how does this PPP, specifically this Ahmedabad BRTS PPP, how does the bidding and the evaluation process works?
Well, actually, what they did was they created a SPV, and in the SPV, they subsequently awarded various contracts. Whether that contract was for parking, whether that contract was for buses, the procurement of buses, or for other reasons. So the bidding criteria for all of them was different, but essentially what had happened was that it was a QCBS bidding where quality was also given weightage, and the normal procurement procedure of issuing a RFQ, RFP was followed, and subsequently the bidders were awarded based on the QCBS criteria.
Could you just explain QCBS in just?
Yeah, QCBS is quality and cost. So,
Okay.
if you want to give more weightage to quality, you say 80% quality or 90% quality, and cost, I will give 10%. So, it is a weighted average of the two components, quality and cost. So, you can increase or decrease both the components. You can say 60% I want quality and 40% cost. So, based on your own inputs, what exactly you want. Suppose you want good quality, then you will give 90% weightage to quality and
Okay.
10% to cost.
So, Dr. Bana, could you just also shed some light on the revenue metrics of this project?
Okay. See, this project, as we have all discussed, it's a more of a urban mass rapid transport project, which has a huge social angle to it. So, main revenue is coming from the fare box collections, basically the ticketing. They have automatic fare collection systems, right? And the ticketing points have been shifted to the edge of the bus station, not in the center. The second major revenue source is the advertisements on the stations or on the way. And the third one is the lease of the real estate on top or around the bus stations. And finally, whatever is the shortfall comes from the state government or other government subsidies. So this is in nutshell is the how the money comes to AJL.
Thank you so much. So, Dr. Bana, so once this project starts, I'm sure it is for a longer period, all the PPP projects, and specifically Ahmedabad BRTS. So I'm sure there are some challenges, especially when it comes to construction of the. Ahmedabad being one of the metro cities, they must have faced some challenges.
Yeah.
So what are the few challenges that usually a PPP faces, and specifically with regards to this BRTS?
The thing is that any PPP projects, especially when it's not a greenfield project, that means there is already some human habitation or anything which is present there. So similar is the case here. Ahmedabad is a very old city, and this corridor, this system, BRTS system, was to address that approaching the most crowded places, but not taking the most crowded approaches.
All right.
Right? That was a philosophy, and with that, the construction started in 2006 and finished in 2009. But the challenge is when we say the biggest challenge was initially the land acquisition for the place where the BRTS was to construct it, and that I will come to that subsequently, possibly. But suffice to say that it was surmounted by the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation. And then the challenges were during construction, that is traffic arrangement, because the narrow streets were there. Traffic was a big challenge, safety was another big challenge. And then ensuring those whose livelihoods were dependent on shopkeepers along the road, their routine was not much disturbed. And uh, I mean, as far as construction is concerned, all utilities which were passing through that area, they were to be shifted, right? There were passages, 24, I think, new bridges were made specifically for the BRTS. And all those challenges were surmounted and the BRT was constructed.
Alright. So when it comes to briefly, 24 bridges were constructed, and this the when it comes to 2006, the financial cost was also a lot. So I'm sure there were other risks as well. How are the risks mitigated? How are they identified eventually? What are the how does the financial matrix works? So could you just shed some light on that?
You see, any PPP project is taken up because there is a risk sharing capacity available with the private player as well as with the public authority. In this case was also the similar. The risks were identified starting from the land acquisition risk, which was taken up by the public authorities. Then you had design risk, which was taken up by the designers, primarily VMC. And then you had planning, financing risk was possibly the least in this case because the most of the financing came from the central and state government entities. And then you had construction risk, which was with the construction because it was EPC contracts were awarded. So most of the construction risk was with the contractors, Marg and the Kakode constructions. And then thereafter, it was operations and maintenance or outreach, public outreach. The major challenge in this case was also ensuring that people remained peaceful and supportive of the project because it was impacting their life day in and day out. So there, it was a big success on part of AJL, that is Ahmedabad Janmarg Limited. So all these risks were very well mitigated, and even today, when we see and look back, we find that in last 15 years, this risk mitigation planning has stood its ground.
I'm sure there were risks and they stood their ground. So when it comes to financing, since as you have already mentioned, that was fully financed by the center and the state government. So could you just shed some light about this way of PPP financing?
Well, this financing was a very unique structure. It was non-recourse financing, wherein the earlier avatar of smart cities, which is JNNURM, contributed about 35%. Then the money was also given by AMC and also by the state government and the central government. So it was virtually risk-free financing from all sides. And since the project had a lot of social impact, I think that is the right way to do the financing also. Because if you go to a financial lender or a commercial bank, they will look at other aspects as well. But this project, I think the structure was very, very appropriate. And even today, if we see after 20 years, I think there have not been many financial hiccups. So I think Kandan can shed more light on the financial aspect of this project.
The finance part of this was being planned right from few years before.
Yeah.
And they brought in, as you mentioned, the JNNURM support. And with that, the entire project became finance risk free. And you can call it because it was having a social angle to it or whatever, but they worked it out well.
Mm.
Though there was problem in coordinations, but it went off well. And today, when we see, we find it successful.
I'm sure there are a lot of, because it is one of the successful BRTS PP projects and there have been a lot of case studies.
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly do we learn from this project and what are the key takeaways? And for the viewers and for the other upcoming PPP projects?
See, one takeaway which stands out very clearly is the detailed planning and vision of the leadership of that time. Right? When the project started in 2006, it was being planned few years before, and having the special purpose company created and transferring the existing assets of Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation pertaining to the transportation to Ahmedabad Janmarg Limited was very timely. And second most important thing which we can learn is how the public reaction was managed, the land acquisition, the resettlement and rehabilitation of those who were displaced, whose possibly businesses were also disturbed. That's another very good performance there we see. Also, we see the financing. That financing is innovative and it has worked very well. There were no financial risk, almost nil. And finally, the dispute resolution mechanism, which was also put in place, has stood itself well. And there have been disputes and which were very well resolved. And today we can say that yes, this BRTS is serving its population very well.
Thank you so much. This brings us to the end of this podcast. If you guys have any more suggestions or any discussions on this.
Well, I think this is a good project that can be replicated in smaller cities in India. And I think as PPP practitioners and experts, we should take it to the city municipal commissioners and the urban local body ministries in the various state governments and try and showcase this project as to how this project achieved success both in terms of institutional governance and the actual implementation on the ground and also the financial and the planning as Dr. Banan rightly said.
It is basically a low-cost urban mass transport system which can be launched with least capital and quickly. And the current technology scenario which prevails in our country, it can really serve the people well.
And also we have seen Delhi BRTS as well, which hasn't done well in our country. So clearly Ahmedabad BRTS could now replicate to other different cities, including metros as well.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for viewing. And if you like this, you may like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste.